The fire burning red in a Georgia representing of a comes audio. Big up Kidaki, Buxton Massive. Hey Babylon boy, you go on like you like come son. Red. Comes audio son. You burn this wine when no want you shine. The tree of life, them no want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money, I know what you can have in money. Money, never money, never money, money, never money, money, you can keep, you can have in money. When you've been up for a bum, in a bill there be money. Now because your money gone, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a bill there be money. Now because your money gone, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money, now know what you conniving money. Neighbor joker, neighbor joker, neighbor joker. That's all the money that we work for. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. That's all the money that we work for. I said money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. Now I know what you can have in money.
Well, I invoke the WP's position that we are engaging in civil disobedience and non-cooperation with the government, and on that grounds I refuse to participate in the interview. The question in struggle, is not personal. Whatever sacrifice as a political activist or a political leader you have to make for your people, you have to make it.
Guyana and Guyana.
They can't keep a good man down. Always keep a smile when they want me to frown. Keep the vibes and I stood my ground. They will never ever take my crown. Oh, Jah bless, I say no man curse. Things getting better when they thought it would be worse. Here comes the officers asking for a search. They found no weapon, just only a draw first. But I'm so solid as a rock, they just can't stop me now. Even when they set their traps, they just can't stop me now. People will say this and that, they just can't stop me now. Even when they set up roadblocks, they just can't stop me now. They come with their evil thoughts. I just listen whenever they talk. I is the light into my dark. He cut and clear all my fault. They fight me without a cause, trying to make my life so hard. The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, give it all reward. I'm so solid as a rock, they just can't stop me now. Even when they set their traps, they just can't stop me now. People will say this and that, they just can't stop me now. Even when they set up roadblocks, they just can't stop me now. So don't you mix me up in your dirty game. You're only trying to tarnish my name. You're only looking for the innocent to blame, when you're the ones who wish the guns down the lane. You only cause destruction and the pain, but the righteous believes in the rain. Love is all I got to give and I'm not to shine. Looking for the future, the sky I can't tame. Cause I'm so solid as a rock and they just can't stop me now. Even when they send their traps, they just can't stop me now. People will say this and that, they just can't stop me now. Even when they set up roadblocks, they just can't stop me now. So they can't keep a good man down, always keep a smile when they want me to frown. Keep the vibes and they stood my ground. They will never ever take my crown. Who's a place I say no man curse. Things getting better when they thought it would be worse. Here comes the officers asking for a search. They found no weapon, just only a dropper. Solid as a rock, they just can't stop me now.
Yes, we will remain solid as a rock. They just can't stop us, you know. Can't stop people from trying. It is whether or not you will give up. And you know they ain't got no giving up, hey. Right? So let us just remember that we have to persevere. And that is what we shall do, perseverance. I thought these people had gotten fed up, man. I thought they had given up on trying to stop us from broadcasting. But yesterday, you know, and you know when you're bothering them and you know what they're afraid of. You really know what they're afraid of. Yesterday, Prodigy held, why do I keep saying that? Yesterday, Coffee 250 held its 10th annual forum, its 10th annual discussion on the state of African Guyanese. And the theme yesterday was the state of African Guyanese in the one-sided one Guyana. You had a power panel there, you know, and you saw the desperation of the PPP, quite frankly, because especially when it came to time for Paul Slow to present, the interference became really bad. And so this morning again I advertised that I'm going to have Paul Slow on. And after a long time, all of the viewers were bounced from the program just as I came on, you know. As soon as I came on and showed my face and started talking, they said, hey, this is the time for Pastor, come on, boops. And they knocked us off. But here we are again and we shall continue to be here. Please share the live. Please share the live. Share. Let them understand that we are in this to win, man. We ain't taking back off. Even if we got to go a little extra time this morning, I ain't taking back off. Right? Mr. Snow is in the house. He is waiting. But I know you will be patient because we got to share the live. Share the live. In the meantime, I'll go to another musical break. While you share the live, I hope Mr. Slow, you ain't got no other appointment, boy. Do you? Mr. Slow?
Yeah, good morning.
Morning. You have any other appointment?
No, man. This morning is you and the viewers' morning.
We're going to dedicate the day to them.
Yeah, this morning is you and the viewers, man.
Alright, we got time. I hope you all got time to share the live, please and thanks. Right? Share the live. Share the live. I'm begging y'all, share. I don't beg, I'm begging y'all, share. Share the live, man. Right? We will do what we have to do. You do what you can do. Let me remind you that the leader of the opposition is going to be in New York. Is it New York? He's going to be at Tropical Breeze Ballroom on the 1st of September. That's a few days from now, you know. Don't think it's a long time. So the Vision for Guyana and the New York People's National Congress Reform present an evening with Aubrey Norton Leader of the Opposition. That's Friday, 1st of September at Tropical Breeze Ballroom, 1367 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11203. Music will be provided by DJ Rani from the Goldstone family and Super Terry one-man band. Okay? There's a dinner, and the dinner costs $100 per plate. And of course, there's an open bar. Action starts at 5. So get down there for 5 o'clock on the 1st of September. Be entertained by DJ Rani from the Goldstone family. Be entertained also by Super Terry one-man band. And of course, listen to Leader of the Opposition, Aubrey Norton. September 1st, the place to be is at Tropical Breeze Ballroom, 1367 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11203. Go down there. It's a production. It's an event sponsored by the Vision for Guyana and the New York People's National Congress. So go on down. And of course, on the 25th of August, right here at Club Twilight, there is going to be Kwekwe Night. Right? Friday, 25th of August, come down to Kwekwe Night. Keep in touch with the culture. Let's keep the culture alive. Come down on the 25th and let's have a grand Kwekwe. You're going to have fun. There will be well-stocked bar and food and drinks will be on sale. Come down, man. Bring down your crew. Nation away, nation. Nation away them there. Bring down your nation and show your connection to the roots and culture, right? We can't give up on this culture thing. Culture is politics. Politics is culture. If you allow them to destroy you and your culture, what will you turn to? Right? What will you turn to? What will be your cornerstone? And I'm also reminded that there's a town hall meeting this Friday. Dennis Collison, good morning. How you do? Right? So Aubrey Norton, and these posters are on my page. They are on my page. So if you miss the date, just go and look for the page. And you will just go to CAMS TV. There's a special section there that tells you that the Leader of the Opposition is going to be at a location next to you. Good. So the 18th of August, Aubrey Norton is at the town hall meeting at St. Agnes and St. Paul's Church. Good. So check that out too. On the 18th of August. Of course, that is before the 1st of September. It's a business before pleasure. I'll go to the town hall meeting on the 18th of August at St. Paul's. Come on, man. Give me one. At St. Agnes and St. Paul's Church, 206 Renshaw Street, East Orange, New Jersey. Good. The Leader of the Opposition is going to be there. The event starts at 6:30. And it's organized by the North American region of the PNCR in association with the New Jersey PNCR groups. Right? There's New Jersey PNCR, then New Jersey Central, and New Jersey number 1 PNCR. Good. Join all of them with the North American region of the PNCR at the town hall meeting with Leader of the Opposition or Leader of the PNCR, Aubrey Norton. It starts at 6:30 and it is on August 18. Right? Good. In the meantime, share the live. Don't forget to share the live. On Fridays, you can, of course, come down to Club Twilight. Well, every day, actually. But we like to promote Fridays because Friday is when the weekend starts. But we have all week activity at Club Twilight. You can come down, sip on a cold one, enjoy the evening. You can watch your favorite television series. Just tell us what you want to do. You can watch cricket. You can watch live sports. Just tell us what you want to do. And we'll make it possible for you. Right? Good. Share the live. We are getting the numbers up, but we want them way up. Good. In the meantime, let us remind them that we are not afraid. Itana said that. We are not afraid. We got time to spend with you this morning.
I see them coming after my soul, wanting to take control. Wanna give me life, wanna give me pain, wanna give me all the material things. I am talking about what the world has to offer. Girl, what you doing, don't you see? What they have done to Beverly and Marcus, Jesus and all of the prophets. But I'm not afraid, no.
I wasn't afraid then, and I don't intend to be now.
No, I'm not afraid, no. If them a come, let them come, 'cause I'm protected by the Most High One. They don't mind when you fall behind and can't pay your bills on time. Prostituting and standing in a them government line. No, and they don't mind when you waste your time coming up with some stupid lines, influencing the youth and to snap a line and take a life. And they don't mind when you're locked up in jail, can't get no bail, sentence for life. I can't see the youth and strive. No, they don't mind. But
I'm not afraid. We can't be afraid because you know what? We're black people, man. Black is beautiful. When you're black is a big threat, and that's what they're afraid of. They don't want to see unity among the Afro-Guyanese. As long as the Afro-Guyanese decide they're going to come together, trouble. Share the life, please and thanks. We playing catch up.
Such a pretty brown skin when you see my melanin, you better show some respect. They can't contain me, no. So they wanna come change me, no. It's a mental slavery, minimal bravery. That's to the fix yet. So no, I won't lower my standards. So watch me fight for what's mine, who I am proud of. Whoa, you won't be taking what's mine, I don't play by my culture. Whoa, out of many, one people all the same. Second of blood flow through within. The strongest survive the human race. Only love will last along the way. Tell your children black is beautiful. To be alive is a whole lot of privilege. Education is the key to rule the world. You don't need to be white to be a pretty girl. Tell your children black is beautiful. How we now go back for no privilege. Knowledge is the ruler of the world. You don't need to be white to be a pretty girl. Your black is a big threat. Never seen nothing like this yet. Such a pretty brown skin when you see my melanin, you better show some respect. They can't condemn me, no. So they wanna come change me, no. It's a mental slavery, minimal bravery. They not see the fix yet. So no, I won't lower my standards. So watch me fight for what's mine, who I am proud of. You won't be taking what's mine, I don't play by my culture. Yeah. Tell your children black is beautiful. To be alive is a whole lot of privilege. Education is the key to rule the world. You don't need to be white to be a pretty girl. Tell your children black is beautiful. And we now go back for no privilege. Knowledge is the ruler of the world. You don't need to be white to be a pretty girl.
Black is beautiful. When you see the melanin, you better show some respect. You know, we ain't backing down. Containment is a state of mind. Tell them I say that. Nobody ain't containing this. Nobody ain't containing this. They could try. Nobody stops you from trying. You know, trying is a good thing. They say try. Keep trying until you can't fail, or to fail to fail to try is to fail to succeed. I can't remember these things. I don't even interested in these things, except that I know that. Then containing this. Good morning, Mr. Slow. Thank you for your patience. You are here once again.
Good morning, Kadaki. Good morning to all your viewers and listeners.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the program. It's been a while. I don't worry to bother you. You got your own celebrity status. But if viewers were requesting yesterday, while we were doing the broadcast for Coffee 250, there were some serious interferences, especially when you started presenting. And so the viewers were saying, listen, Pastor Guy be saying something that these people are afraid of. Invite him to come on to Guyanese morning time tomorrow morning. Early as we can, let this thing go cold, you know, be the iron while it's hot. Invite Mr. Sloan to do his presentation that we couldn't hear properly at Ipadaji. And we know he's going to do it Wednesday again too, but Let him come Monday and do it. We're waiting. So here we are. What are these people so afraid of? What were you presenting yesterday, Mr. Slow?
Well, the message is a very important message, and I will continue to share the message as often as I can. In as many fora as I am able to appear, I will share the message. As you indicated yesterday, we had the Coffee 250. I think it was his 10th symposium. The theme was the state of African Guyanese in a one-sided one Guyana. Now, I was invited to make a presentation on public security. As you know, I have some experience in this area, having served in the Guyana Police Force for over 37 years. I'm also the recent past chairman of the Police Service Commission. And since even retiring over 30 years ago, I have remained in the security arena. So the organizers felt that I have some type of expertise in this area. I was invited to do the presentation, and I readily accepted the invitation. And therefore, I appeared yesterday virtually, and people started to complain that from the time Slow appeared on the screen, the thing started to drag, and this was clear evidence that there was interference in the program. And they said this because when the previous speakers spoke, things went fairly normal. There was no interference, but somehow they frightened what Slow has to say. So I'm going to say it again, as I indicated. My presentation was on public security, and I made a presentation. We were limited, or the time for the presentation was limited. So I tried to conform to that period of time. My presentation lasted, I think, about 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes, I think it was. So that was it really. That was it. The presentation on public security caused some to be fearful. Well, I'm only speaking the truth. I'm only bringing the truth to the attention of the wider Guyanese public. And if they are afraid of that, then that is on them. That is not on me.
I am sure they're angry with themselves now, though, for obstructing your presentation yesterday, because now you don't have a time limit. You got all morning, we could talk about it.
Exactly so.
The mic is yours, sir. Let's go.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go over the presentation that I did yesterday.
Very well.
And as you indicated, I have an opportunity now to really expand on some of the things which I could not have done yesterday because of the time constraint. Now, I started by saying public security or public safety is the prevention of and protection from events that could endanger the safety of and security of the public from significant danger, injury, or property damage. Public security refers to the provision of law enforcement, emergency medical service, fire prevention and suppression, and emergency management by local government entities. Public security is the responsibility of the government to ensure the protection of citizens, persons in the country, organizations, and institutions against threat to their well-being, survival, and prosperity. In Guyana, the primary agency for the provision of public security is the Guyana Police Force. Other agencies include the Guyana Fire Service, the Guyana Prison Service, and the Guyana Defense Force. The role of the Guyana Defense Force in public safety is to support the civil authority, that is the police. Let me talk a bit about the Guyana Police Force. As stated above, the Guyana Police Force is the primary law enforcement organization in Guyana and therefore plays a critical role in the provision of public safety and security. The role of the Guyana Police Force is outlined in Section 3.2 of the Police Act of the Laws of Guyana, Chapter 16:01. And it states it's to prevent the prevention and detection of crime, the preservation of law and order, the repression of internal disturbance, the protection of property, the apprehension of offenders, and the due enforcement of all laws and regulations with which it is directly charged. I will posit here that for the force to deliver its mandate, the members must be carefully selected, well-trained and equipped, competently led, strategically deployed, free from political control and interference, and properly remunerated. The empirical evidence before us suggests that the force currently lacks those critical ingredients and consequently is currently incapable of providing the level of public security and safety that is critical if the country is to develop. The police force is divided into 12 regional police divisions, which are generally aligned with the 10 administrative regions of the country. These are in addition to the several branches at force headquarters. Due to historical factors, the Ghana Police Force has a numerical dominance of African men and women. It is suggested that many factors, including government policies, religious beliefs, demographics, among others, have led to this situation. Over the years, there have been several commissions, including the Discipline Force Commission of 2004, that have looked at the numerical imbalance and made recommendations to address same. However, despite all efforts, the imbalance remains. Since assuming office in 2020, the current government has made a concerted effort to place Indian Guyanese police officers in senior management positions at the expense of their more experienced African Guyanese counterparts. And I will refer to that as the Indianization of the police management. Currently, Regional Police Divisions 1, and there is Barimo Waini 2, Essequibo Coast 3, West Demerara, 4B, which is on the East Bank, 4C, which is on the East Coast, 6, which is Quarantine, and 8, which is the Madi area, are commanded by Indian Guyanese police officers. In many of these cases, the second in command and other key positions are held by inexperienced and unqualified Indian Guyanese police officers. In addition, several other important departments within the force, such as operations, the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, finance, are held by Indian Guyanese police officers, most of whom are unqualified and lack the necessary experience to occupy those important senior positions. Many hold the view, and I do as well, with justification I might add, that the only reason some were placed in those important positions is because of the ethnicity and the perception that they support the current government. The converse is also true. That is, the only reason that many qualified and experienced African policemen and women are denied senior positions is because of their ethnicity and the perception that they support the opposition political parties. It is significant to note that most of the regional police divisions commanded by Indian Guyanese police officers are in the major population centers of Guyana. On the other hand, the regional police divisions commanded by African Guyanese policemen, apart from Region 4A, which is Georgetown, 5 West Coast Berbice, and 10 Linden, are in remote areas with sparse population. I refer specifically to, let's say, you have a man at Region 7, and even that, I don't think he is classified as an Afro-Guyanese. He's more mixed. And then we have Region 9. Those areas compared to the others are sparsely populated, and I have the figures in terms of the population. It was also noted that during the last promotion, and let me say this is significant, and the records are there. It is also noted that during the last promotion of senior officers in July 2022, Indian police officers were favored ahead of their African counterparts. Of the 8 persons promoted to the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police, only 3 were Africans. In the case of the 11 persons promoted to the rank of Senior Superintendent, only 4 were Africans. In the case of the 21 ranks promoted to superintendents, only 8 were Africans. And I say here similar disproportionalities were observed in the lower ranks, that is the rank from inspector and ASP and all of those ranks right down. And I argue that this disproportionality is difficult to justify given the numerical dominance of African policemen and women in the force, many of whom are highly qualified and experienced. We have the case of Dr. Paul Williams. We have the case of Senior Superintendent Philip Azur. We have the case of Superintendent Stanton. These are all qualified persons who have been sidelined for not anything to do with their ability, their experience, and their competence, but for political reasons. There can be no doubt that given the important legal mandate of the Guyana Police Force, it has a critical role to play in the maintenance of public safety and security. I am saying that this requires well-motivated members. There is compelling evidence that in recent years, the Guyana Police Force has been weaponized by the current administration to go after African Guyanese, especially those in the opposition political parties and persons perceived to be supporters. And I have some examples here. Former Minister of Finance, Winston Jordan, arrested and charged with misconduct in public office. And we recall, prior to his arrest, the Vice President and the Attorney General made statements that they were dissatisfied with SOCU with reference to the fact that they did not charge Mr. Winston Jordan. And shortly thereafter, he was arrested and charged. And I said then and I say again, those statements were what we call dog whistle. The dog whistle was sounded. The operatives heard this call and they went and they arrested him. Then we had the case of Takuma Ogunsi, a political activist. He was arrested in March and charged for attempting to incite racial hostility. And I argue here that what was very concerning about that entire incident is that the police issued a wanted bulletin without making any effort to contact Ogunsi. And I say over the past years, the police have been using wanted bulletins mainly against Africans whom they want for questioning in relation to various allegations. Ogunsi, having turned himself in company with his lawyer, was denied bail and kept in custody for 72 hours. He was then shackled. Imagine you have a situation shackled and handcuffed, right? This is an African Guyanese, and we know the history of shackles and handcuffs. He was shackled and handcuffed and taken to court to answer the charge. Then we had former Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson charged under the Sexual Offences Act for exposing his genital. And I say the circumstances surrounding the allegation clearly shows that it was a case at most of indecent exposure under the Summary Jurisdiction Act. When I was in the force, and any experienced former or current police will tell you that, and I'm being frank and blunt here, a man caught peeing at the side of the road or any place else, that is not a sexual offense. There is no one who could successfully argue that the circumstances of this case amounts to a sexual offense. It's an indecent exposure. And we used to make a joke over it, and I'm sure many of our viewers can relate to that. That peeing is not the issue. If a man goes to the side of the road and pees, is not an issue. But as I used to say, and it's a joke, when you shake, that is when the offense is committed. And I say further that if you want to charge persons for this crime, then you're going to have many cases. And I'm not advocating, I'm not supporting it, but it's a fact that in Guyana, all over you see men in particular exposing themselves and urinating on the side of the road, on the side of some post, and all of that. And I see again, we had another dog whistle. Before the story on Mr. Patterson broke, the Minister of Home Affairs is on record as saying that police must go after people for public urination and indecent language and all of that. So I am arguing that when he made those statements, he knew about this coming up, so he tried to give some cover. And I go on, and I say, then we had this egregious case of attorney at law Tamika Clark, a female African, who was on October the 22nd, arrested by ranks of the Special Organized Crime Unit. And what was her offense? She advised her client to remain silent. She advised her client, which is her right, which is the client's constitutional right, to remain silent and not to give a statement to the police. For that, she was arrested and kept in custody by the police. And we know that matter, there was a civil lawsuit, and the Chief Justice ruled that the rights of the attorney or constitutional rights were violated. The Chief Justice is now to decide on the quantum of damages. And I hope that this situation, the circumstances surround that, because that was not a spontaneous act. The attorney had been there before and had informed the police that she is going to advise her client not to give a statement. She was then told to return at a particular date and time. And at that time, that is when she was spoken to, she was told in no uncertain manner that when she returns, if she maintains that position, she is going to be arrested. And it is alleged that she was told, counsel will need counsel. That is what she's saying. She was told by the police, counsel will need counsel. So it was a premeditated act. And I hope that those circumstances are taken into consideration when damages are awarded. And then we go on, I say, on the other hand, persons who are associated with the government are given a free pass. And I mentioned here, we know this case very well, former Minister of Local Government, Local and Regional Development, Nigel Darmlal, accused of grooming, raping, and sodomizing a 16-year-old indigenous schoolgirl. And I say that the investigation that followed can only be described as a travesty of justice. And suffice to say that the Director of Public Prosecutions clearly went against the relevant laws when she recommended to the police that Darmlal should not face criminal charge. In the face of prima facie evidence, in the case of evidence which suggests that there was a likelihood of a conviction, that was the action taken. And then we also have, don't let us forget, the Regional Executive Officer of Region 9, Carl Singh, accused of shooting a 25-year-old in her abdomen in Letem in July of 2021. It was reported that he was sent on leave pending the investigation. He was made to resume duties and was never charged for that incident. So there you have cases where African Guyanese are treated in one way, and the people who are perceived are members of the ruling government and are supporters of them are treated quite differently. And therefore, we cannot say that we have a rule of law in Guyana, because the rule of law stipulates that all persons should be treated equally. And I have said repeatedly that when people in Guyana, when the politicians in Guyana, the ruling politicians or the ones in government in Guyana talk about the rule of law, they must give their definition of what the rule of law is in relation to Guyana. Because certainly the rule of law, as recognized internationally, is not what applies in the Guyanese context. And I say that there are numerous other cases which clearly show that the system discriminates against African Guyanese. The current situation, Guyana Police Force cries out for disaggregated information so that one can get a better understanding of the gravity of the discrimination against African policemen and women within the force. And this is a theme that we, IPADA-G and Coffee 250, and even the US government, the Biden administration, the team they have been advocating for disaggregated information. Because when you're going to talk about poverty, if you're going to talk about discrimination, then you need disaggregated figures. In other words, in case of the police force, we need to know how many persons are in the force, what is their ethnicity, what the gender. Then you break it down by rank. How many persons are in a particular rank? What is the ethnicity of those persons? And that will give you a better understanding of the situation that I am referring to. And then I close here by saying before I go there, let me say there is also empirical evidence that African Guyanese, especially males, are victims of unlawful profiling by the police. The same is true with respect to African villages and communities, and that is public knowledge and information. Public knowledge and information. Raids are targeted at certain areas, right? And if you're going to pull up, stop and search people, or they're going to raid, particular African Guyanese are the ones who are more likely to be victims of such activities. I close by saying that despite the figures given by the Guyana Police Force, claiming that crimes are done, public security in Guyana is in a perilous situation. The World of Statistics in its 2022 report stated that Guyana has the 7th highest crime rate in the world. Only Trinidad, and this is in the world I'm talking about, and this is as per capita. The 7th highest crime rate in the world. I want you to think about that. Only Trinidad and Tobago in the English-speaking Caribbean at number 6 has a higher crime rate. And this you can go and search it, go on Google, the World of Statistics, the report is there, and I give a breakdown in terms of percentage and all of that. Only recently, the U.S. Embassy, and this is on July 17th of this year, issued an advisory to its citizens, which stated, and I quote, reconsider travel to Guyana due to crime. Violent crime, including murder and armed robbery, is common, especially at night. Local police often lack the resources to respond to serious criminal incidents. And then I gave a few recommendations in closing to say that the need for disaggregated information about the police, drastic reform of the Guyana Police Force, especially its senior personnel and its practices. I recommended the force must be made to act independently and professionally and not used as a political weapon. And I said the force must be free from political interference. We have evidence too of political interference in the force. And that is a message, Kidaki, that they did not want to hear. I don't know if there's anything controversial about that. Those are facts. And you know, they say facts are stubborn things. And if they want to say that the people who I say are not in those divisions in charge, the Indian, let them say so, because I know that that is true. And there's much more. There is much more to this whole thing. That is why I'm saying that this thing needs to be looked at. And look, this has led to the demoralization of members of the force, especially many of the African policemen. They are fearful to come out and speak. They are fearful. These things, people are bypassed. They are senior, they are experienced, they're in a position, and all of a sudden, someone is put, some Indian police officer is put, and when I say officer, I'm using it broadly, not necessarily gazetted officer, is put in charge of them. Look, there's a case recently reported, the traffic chief. I know traffic is in a mess because of all the accidents and so on. They removed Ramana, Superintendent Ramana from Suku, the controversial Ramana from Suku. He's the one who is involved in the arrest of the attorney that I spoke of earlier. And he is now put to be the second in command of traffic. And there is a report which suggests that from the 1st of September, the traffic chief, Superintendent Stevens, will be either made to go on leave or will proceed on leave. And Ramana is going to take over. So there is another case where another injured, unqualified, inexperienced, is going to be put to be a branch as important as traffic at a time when road accidents are out of control. Whether they call it accidents, whether they call it incidents as they have now been doing, it's out of control. Every day, every week, you have 3, 4. And of course, the minister said you can accept 5 a month or something like that. As the minister said that if you have 5 a month, I think he made a statement to the effect that 5 deaths on the road per month might be an acceptable level. So, Kidaki, that is what I presented yesterday, and that is what they interfered with and prevent a lot of people from hearing. But as you rightly said earlier, I have this opportunity here this morning, and on my program on Wednesday, I'm going to talk about this again. Well, no, when I say much more, I am talking here about other command positions. Because we are hearing, and let me say this. When I speak on this or any other program, I am not going to tell people about things that I cannot really confirm. So when I make statements, I try to do all my research and because they're sitting back and they're listening and they're watching and they're waiting for Slow to say anything, and then they're going to lose their the surrogates. They're going to lose their bulldog to criticize and perhaps even claim that they have been defamed. So there are lots of things that I know are happening, but I need confirmation on those things before I can talk publicly about them.
I smile just now when you say bulldogs, because it's not always a bull.
Yeah, there's some of them are bitches. I know some are bitches. I said bulldog, but I know some are bitches, and some are perhaps even worse than bitches. And when we say bitches, we're talking about sexes of the dogs. You get the bull and you get the bitch. The bull is the male, the bull people and the thing, and the bitch is the female.
Some of them confused too.
Yeah, some gender confused, some in between. You know that, yeah.
Mr. Slow, the statistics you gave in terms of who heads which division and the population of those divisions and so on. I'm sure that there's some serious implications for who heads the division in terms of what I would say the what's the word? Anyhow, the ethnic and economic makeup of that division. What are some of these implications? Who is heading particular divisions, and why do you believe that only Indo-Guyanese are used to head those divisions versus Afro-Guyanese being sent in less populated divisions and so on? The word I was looking for is based on demographics.
Well, let me say this. I think again these things are not cannot be disputed. The evidence is there. People are put so that they can act in a certain way. We had the case with this. I refer to the allegation against Nigel Darmlad, and the allegation surfaced around the 15th of the month. Can't remember exactly which month it was, May or June. And around the same time, a day or two thereafter, the commander of Region 2, Sheikh Baran, took a statement from the victim for her to say that she doesn't want, she actually said that the information that was circulating on social media, she did not know how it got there. She never at that stage, according to the statement that he took, denied the rape allegation. He took that statement. So I'm saying, and let me say further about that. A statement, I think is about 15 lines, that according to what he wrote, took over 3 hours. Took over 3 hours for him to state, because he had the starting time of taking the statement and the time it ended. And I'm saying that these people are put into this position. So when you have incidents like those, they are going to cover up for those who are favored by the government. Additionally, they put into, and this is the worrying part, because when you put in experienced officers into some of these positions, they don't know how to operate, and then crime is likely to flourish in those areas. Crime and lawlessness is likely to flourish because they don't have the experience as to how to deal with it. Road accidents, the same thing, you put in experienced people there and you will see what happens. So that is why I am saying, that we need disaggregated information, because if we have proper disaggregated information, we will see the impact, either positive or negative, of those forces being put there. And I want to suggest that given all that has been happening in recent times, that the figures will show a negative impact with those forces in those positions. We had again the situation at Madia. 20 children died. And it was appalling to see that the very next day, and the murder of 20 children, the very next day, no protection of the crime scene. The Prime Minister and others are walking through this crime scene. And that falls right back to the inexperienced police commander, because an experienced police commander would have known that he had to immediately secure that scene. And those are two examples of why some of these forces are put there, and what the impact of inexperienced forces being put. And let me say this, I have said this repeatedly. I have nothing personal against these people, right? They are put into these positions, they didn't volunteer to go there, they are put there. I have nothing personal against them. But the system is operating against the best interests and the interests of the community and the country, because there's no proper training, there's no proper preparation for these positions. Again, the example I just gave with Romana. Romana, a man at traffic who doesn't even know his powers, a man who was at Soku, who doesn't even know his powers of arrest, because he's arresting a lawyer for advising a client to remain silent. He's now put to traffic, and if the report that was circulated on social media by one of the surrogates is correct, this surrogate normally get first-hand information from them. If that is correct, it means that within a few weeks, this man is in charge of traffic, where the death toll and the accidents are gone out of work. So he's going to be put there. What do you expect? He's going to, when he goes there? First of all, him going there is likely to demotivate the ranks who have been in there and the people who are more experienced in that area going there. And I was put in the traffic on 2 occasions. But when I went there, I had no experience really in traffic, but I had command experience. I had commanded division, I had commanded branch, at least one branch. When I was put in traffic, I was attending university and studying at the time. And therefore, I think I was far more qualified to go there than putting a man. I don't know if he has even a diploma or anything other than the board certificate. But clearly, if he doesn't know his form of arrest and you're putting him there, you can't expect much to happen in terms of the improvement of the situation in traffic.
You talk about the demoralization, demotivation of the ranks who have been there before and believe that they have been superseded and discriminated against and so on. That certainly is going to, in my mind, create what we will call a rift in the department, and so people might underperform, withhold critical information and so on, which will make things worse.
Well, not only underperform, but people, again, there's a situation now in many areas in the force where people just go to work. People are just going to work and make sure that they keep their heads above water, don't rock the boat, and then they go back home. Even when it comes to investigation, even when it comes to proactive law enforcement, you don't want to get involved too much in these things. They're not motivated to operate.
Is it an easy fix?
No, it is not. It is not. And as I suggested, it starts with fixing the leadership. Because people say fish rats on the head. And if it is that you don't have proper leadership, then you know how to be fixed. And this is not only leadership within the police force, this is leadership even at the political level. Many years ago when the IDB intervened to assist in reforming the force, I was identified as the person to head that reform. So I have some understanding and experience of what is required. It is required for fixing, as I suggested in the recommendation, you have to fix the top. If you have a person at the top who is incompetent, who is unprofessional, you're gonna trickle down. It's gonna trickle down. And again, I say that you have people who are competent and who can run divisions, who can run stations, but many times they are sidelined. And we might very well reach a stage in terms of fixing to look at the old model of policing at the senior level. And the model I'm talking about, if you recall, Trinidad, I remember Antigua at one stage, I think, Jamaica, even people, St. Kitts, they imported qualified persons to head those departments. I don't know how successful is what, but these are things that you have to examine, you have to now think outside the box, because things in the force and in the country in relation to crime and public security are in a terrible state.
But Mr. Slow, you mentioned earlier in your presentation that there's several qualified policemen. At the top of that list, I think he's now Dr. Paul Williams, I was told, who was just being forced in a corner. So is it necessary to have to go the importation way, or is it simply a case of the political, whatever you want to call them, backing off and allowing the system to function?
Meaning that you have to have an hybrid arrangement where you have people inside and from people you bring from outside. Because the issue is that in the context of the current situation in Ghana, as I said, with the amount of political interference, they are going to continue, and we know that what is going to happen is that if somebody stands up to them, as I did in 2003 with the Minister of Home Affairs and the then President Jacques, if you stand up to them, they also to sideline you. They also to sideline, and many of those forces are close to retirement, and maybe many of them are saying, bye, before I rock the boat, let me take a couple morning, go into retirement. The argument has always been that if you do a proper selection, you bring qualified persons from outside, then you are not likely to get the politicians to influence decisions as easily and as readily as they do now. And perhaps that is the very reason why they do not want to bring in persons with the experience and professionalism. The last attempt, the government, and that was during the time when I was doing the reform, I was shocked when I discovered that the government had brought in Bernard Herrick, a former commissioner from the New York, head of the New York Police, who is again in hot water, and he served time in prison and all that. But that is the man who they brought to assist, a man who had his own troubles, and I'm saying, so they are aware. And let me say this too: this is not something new to them about bringing people from the outside. During 1994, I was the head of the Presidential Guard when Dr. Jagan was president. And it might surprise a lot of people to know who the person that took over. Because during that time I went to the Police Staff College in the UK. And while in the UK, I got information that they were interviewing somebody to take over from me. Because they weren't comfortable with me being there, because I don't take strictness on land. And do you know who they brought, Kidaki viewers? They brought John Drapal, John Slingshot Drapal. I think he was in Miami somewhere. And he came and he took over in the guard. They gave him a rank in the force, and he took over the Presidential Guard. So they're aware.
Was he qualified?
Can be done. I don't know what qualification he had. He was a civilian. I think he may have had some military background, definitely no police background. But they brought him to the Presidential Guard. And I can say this, that when he really saw, because they told him how the guard was unprofessional and all of that, but when he saw what was happening, that the unprofessional members of the guard were the ones that were recruited by the then administration. The professionals who were there before were acted very professionally, the ones who were there before. And they brought, he said, no, he chopped, he resigned, and he went away.
Interesting. You mentioned, Mr. Slow, that part of the solution is leadership. I saw recently that the current commissioner acting, or commissioner performing the duties, whatever, got an extension to his tenure. Is that good for the force? Or if it's negative, how?
Well, it can be. It can be good. First of all, the whole process about the president, president seems to think that he is a king, he's a sultan, or he's a maharaja. He's not. There is something called the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and the president is a creature of the Constitution. And so therefore it acts, and its actions have to be in compliance with the Constitution. And we have seen, I had a case where the president suspended the Police Service Commission. I challenged it and won, and they have appealed. I challenged it and won because I said the president acted unconstitutionally, and the courts agreed that he acted unconstitutionally. So I am saying, and I am hoping, I said last week on my program, I'm hoping that the legal minds in Ghana are going to take this up. And you're not taking it up because you have something with the man, something against the man who sits in the chair. You're taking it up because you're going to argue that the Constitution is violated. There's no way in a democratic country where a president, I don't think there's any such law, can just decide, well, all right, you stay on this post. And more worrying is that the president is saying that the man is going to remain on the post, so they have to be determined. So he's there, he can be there forever then, because it's a date to be determined, no date was given. So let's see how that will work out. But I say that cannot be a good thing for even the morale of those who had a legitimate expectation to be there. And it's not that you can argue that, look, this man, since he is there, things have improved in terms of crime. Things have gotten worse, despite what all the spin they spin. Things have gotten worse. And traffic accidents, almost a daily occurrence. Murders, they themselves reported that you had, I think about a month ago, something like 37% increase in murders. Accident, it was another large percentage increase in fatal accident. Even though they try to make a distinction between fatal accidents and fatal incidents, the fact is people are dying on the road. And those things that they are calling fatal incidents are not incidents, they are accidents. They are accidents. There's one I can remember right off on the quarantine, the 19 public road, where some people were driving, heading in a westerly direction. Apparently there was some carcass or something on the road, which caused them to lose control, crashed, and they died. 2 persons, I think, died. And they say, oh, there's not an accident, there's an incident. So according to them, unless 2 vehicles collide, there's an incident. Unless 2 vehicles collide. And I know there have always been incidents, but the incidents, trafficking that we refer to, mostly in those days occurred in the rice fields and so on, where somebody would be using a tractor, and then the tractor overturns and pin him down, and so yeah, because that is an incident. But once it occurs on the road, and the laws say what the roads are, right? There's a definition for road. Once it occurs on the road, it's an accident. It's a fatal accident. And they doctor it. So I'm saying, increase in accidents, increase in lawlessness, right? We had in recent times, I think today, Stabrook News editorial spoke about it. 2 incident, one I think in West Riville, where people just drawing guns and shooting. One in Sophia, I think it was, or somewhere else. Man just pulling out guns, shooting. 4 persons injured, 1 man dead, another injured. It is madness, it is lawlessness. And the police and the government have a responsibility to take action to rein this craziness in. And I'm saying that as long as you have those persons in those positions, these things are going to continue. Somebody told me this morning that we have not seen, one of my friends, when he read the Stabrook News editorial today, he messaged me to say, why things likely to get worse. And I agree with him, because we have not seen measures being put in place to deal with it. In terms of the accident, people are dying on the road, and what they did. When the commander of Region 4, B, had a near-death experience with that truck, with the car, they started to go on the East Bank Road and to stop trucks with flashing light and tires and all that type of thing. Over the weekend, somewhere in Springlands there, and those measures are not going to, you're talking here about a situation that is now almost cultural. There is a lawlessness. And these stopgap measures are not going to work. They are not going to work. So, and you need, as I said, dynamic leadership at all levels. The Minister of Home Affairs is relatively silent. You don't hear anything from him. There is a National Security Advisor, you don't hear anything about him, about national security. The man who sits in the chair as Commissioner of Police is Mike and Cam. Well, except, I was about to say Cameron Shy, but he's not Cameron, he's Mike Shy. So since he came out with the crime chief, with the following the allegation by Sergeant Bascom, and to debunk the allegation made by Bascom, he ended by the Mike any longer. He ended by the camera. As bridesmaids to the president, everywhere the president goes, he's behind the president, now even overseas. So that is what you have. That is what you have.
Interesting indeed. It's 20 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. I know there are people who are trying to call in. So I'll open up the lines as we continue to talk about what's happening. Right? If that's okay with you.
Yes, it's okay.
Good. So the lines are open. You can call and put your questions to Mr. Slow as we continue to talk about... remember we're talking about Mr. Slow and Mr. Slow's presentation this morning. Y'all don't bring nothing extraneous. Big word now. I don't bring up nothing outside of the discussion. Call it live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to you, Mr. Paul Slow. Good morning to you, Mr. Amsterdam, and to all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. I don't have no question for you, Flash Garden, but I want to thank you for the good works you are doing. And today, I'm saying it loud and clear, you earned the second good program now. You were stored, but you are the second one now in the country. But Mr. Amsterdam will remain daddy. Mr. David, no disrespect, you become third now. Let Flash Garden move on. I am so sorry that your parents is not alive today for see the fruits, what they bear and support. I know you went in the police force as a young man and they give you that opportunity, your choice. Because you had a business, I believe you had a baker shop and grocery store. But as you decide to go into the police force, to become somebody, they allow you go. But God save one. Your sister is there to say, thank you, Lord, my brother make it. That is a blessing for you. And you represent what my grandmother teach me at the age of 9. She said, my grandson, don't challenge me. When Huri come from on the ground and say, Papa get tea, you got to believe because them to live there. I believe that when I fall in you, because you are an ex-police, commissioner of police. So you know everything. You study that. You went to college or university or the country. That's why you become the second best program in that country. Keep the fight. You always said they cannot keep a good man down. What you're saying about promotion, every cow does cry for their own calf. Mr. David Green said, did not cry for your own calf. It did not empower us, but anyway, the boat don't sink already. I will not stay long. I will cut off and give you that chance to answer question. Tomorrow, I will say what I have to say. Thank you and continue the good work, Mr. Paul Slow.
Thank you for your call. This person know you're inside out, right?
I want to know who and the thing I don't know who the I know the Flash Garden from listening to the program, but he seems to know me very well.
The man got me wondering how I ain't get to taste one of them slow bread yet.
That was you know what you're talking about. That was back in the day, man, back in the day. A long time ago.
Very long time. Good, so the lines remain open. And we're talking with Mr. Slow here on his presentation from the Coffee 250. And of course, we're talking about what's happening in policing and so on and everything else. Call A Live, good morning.
Mr. Slow, Iraqi, Guyanese, good morning. Mr. Slow, did you know, I sure you're aware of the country of Georgia, right? It was part of Russia. In 2004, right, what the government did, the new government came in. I don't think this will be done under the present government in Guyana, but in 2004, the country of Georgia, they fired the entire police department. That was 3,000 police officers, right? If you Google it, I think you should be aware of that. 3,000 police officers, right? And they created a corrupt free force. They said around 85% of the police officers, right? Approximately 15,000. They started with the traffic police, and then they remove everyone. Maybe something like that needs to be done, right? I guess when a new administration takes power. What do you think about that? And did you know about that situation in Georgia? Yeah, that's it. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. Want to comment
Yeah,
there, Mr. Slow?
I'm aware of that situation where upon the entire force was removed. I don't think that can work in Ghana because, as I said, we have a lot of competent, capable police at many levels. What it requires is proper leadership. In my recommendation, I spoke about remuneration. I mean, that is not everything, but that will go a long way towards easing some of the problem and towards attracting people with qualification and all of that. But whatever it is, it requires, and let me say that when the IDB was here for the reform, we went through a lot of stuff. We considered a lot of interventions to make the force more professional. Unfortunately, nothing really happened. And people believe that to reform the force, all you need to do is to build a few buildings, better accommodation, provide them with vehicles, and the like. And we have seen that those things are not working by themselves. They're not going to work. So they boast about building new back rooms to the police and new rooms for people to be interview rooms and all of that. It's not going to work. This piecemeal measure is not going to work. The president is on record as saying no more boots on the ground. They go into electronic CCTV cameras and all of that. And we have seen, again, a murder execution not too far away from State House. I'm referring here to the paper shard murder. What cameras couldn't pick up anything. We have so many other crimes, murders and things. Nobody. So the cameras apparently are not working. And therefore, yes, the Georgia people, when they came in, fired almost the entire police force. I don't think that is necessary in the case of Guyana. I think that what needs to happen, we need to have the look at it and have people who are competent, who are not compromised to run departments, to run the force. That's what we need. We need people to be accountable for their action and professional action. Only over the weekend, I'm reading for the Complaints Authority. We're saying that the police administration is covering up bad behavior for the rank. So what do you expect? What do you expect when you have that type of thing? People are going to do their own thing because there is no accountability.
Thank you.
And more than that, let me say not only that there's no accountability, but people are rewarded for unprofessional conduct. I spoke about the Ramana incident. He's rewarded because he had incidents before and he was promoted. Now he's going to head a department very shortly. We have even the man in the chair who is favored and for incompetence, and that is the problem that we have.
Thank you. Caller live. Thank you for holding. Did we lose that caller? It would seem so. All right, we had a call on the line. You know, it's like the story with the man digging diamond. You're close, you know, don't give up. Impatience, we lost that caller. But the lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You know, Mr. Slow, again, you mentioned earlier in your presentation the extension of the current acting commissioner acting in the chair there as another constitutional breach. You have a way of pointing out all the breaches of the Constitution by this current administration, more particularly the president. I've made calls for the removal of the president based on these breaches. I'm hoping, folks, that somebody is going to, like Mr. Slow said earlier, he hopes that the legal minds will take up these things and address them in the courts, because we can't have a president installed as it may be, continuously breaching the Constitution, disregarding the Constitution of this country. Okay? Caller, thank you for holding your life.
Good morning to you and good morning to Mr. Slow. What Mr. Slow said yesterday, I really listened to it because I was there in person. And what he brought out, it is so true, because when you have police who could do the job in Guyana, who are not the tainted police, the moonshine ones, they are being surpass, override, never ever been given that task to come up in the ranks and function as meaningful and honest officers. But when they take people who they could get to do their dirty biddings, this is what will happen. And as long as the acting top cop, apparently like Guyana police force, when there are certain leaders in the country, you get accredited when you could kill, like how they got the gang wars. Some of them said the first thing before you join this gang, you got to bring somebody tongue or this or that. Well, he brought 3 lives to the PPP. Hence, they will always try to keep him there as long as possible. And because he's going to be there as long as possible, young police will not be able to climb up. And when you, a young person, because somebody is an old person who should have acquired enough that they could retire meaningfully, when the age of retirement comes, you're suppressing the young people. And because I cannot move forward to get a better remuneration because the old ones, them, teeth dropping out, hair falling off, and ain't getting to go home, I might be a good person, but find myself involving underhand business to help me to look after my house. So I think that when you meet 55 or 60, that is the age of retirement. Oh, please go home and let young people get to step up and do their jobs. And many of these old people, when they stay on, they become a hatchery for this illegal, fraudulent government to do all the wicked biddings. You gotta go near, what? If you do the straight thing, you're getting knocked off. But once you're gonna walk along with me, you would never retire. Some of them just dead and they still walking because they don't see that it could come off. So that is it. Bye-bye. Learn how the person speak.
Thank you for your call. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Slow, question for you. We know they got 2 factions in the police force. Is it greater than than those who for the PPP, from your intelligence?
I'll repeat that last part of the question there. I didn't get that properly. It's 2 factions.
We know that there are factions in the police force, right? Is it more for the PPP or lesser than?
I don't know about factions in the police force, but I know that you have people who are there and are always over the years. You've had people who are supportive of political parties. I think the perception has always been that the police force is more supportive of the coalition and the PNC as against the people. That's a perception. But I don't know a faction. I don't know if that is still the case. But as I said, I know what has been happening in recent times. There has been the indigenization of the command structure of the force.
And how is it taken by the other set of people, by our people?
Well, the people, I mentioned that the people are very, very upset about it, but they are afraid to speak out. People are not speaking out because they are threatened with transfers, they are threatened with all kind of things, and therefore they prefer to stay quiet. You're working 8 to 4, go to work, pray for 4 o'clock to come, and then go. So people are demoralized. The force is a demoralized organization. I have absolutely no doubt about that, and it is part because of the same indigenization process that you have. Because as I said, if you have a particular ethnic group dominating numerically, and then the other group with lesser numbers are in all the most of the key positions, one can understand naturally what will happen. You don't have to be a sociologist to figure out what is going to happen in such a situation.
Was coming to it. You said it. Something is going to burst, though. Something is going to burst. And it must burst.
Thank you, caller.
All right.
Let me see if there are any voice notes. I almost forgot that we usually have voice notes. So yes, there are some voice notes. Let's see what they have to say.
Hi, good morning.
All right. Call it like.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam, and good morning, Mr. Slow Beefy Man. Yes.
Good morning.
Yes. I know that a lot of people believe you, and I believe you with that same thing that went down with you and the president, because you know what? When he was at Ministry of Finance and he was appointed Minister of Housing, there was a young clerk that was working there. And when he went, that guy went with him and he was placed in a very good position over a lot of people. So these people doing this thing for long. And I think as a Guyanese, the conversation has started and we just don't want the conversation. We must have action because you know what? A Guyanese is a Guyanese and it doesn't matter Indian, black, whatever, everybody should be given the same opportunity. Once you serve and you have your qualification, you should be promoted. It shouldn't be based on your affiliation to a party or the color of your skin. And Guyana is in a very, very, very sad place. I can't emphasize the situation that we are in. And you know what is more sad with this police force is that our children, that we send our children out there. Some may choose to join the police force and they're being disrespected. You use them to do all sorts of things that are not right. And you have them being disrespected out there on a daily basis. I don't think it's right, and we need to get active on the ground and work for betterment, better systems that these things can be challenged and, you know, Guyanese can have a fair opportunity at everything. And I want to bring this other case with this doctor. Remember this Dr. Solomon that was on her knees begging whatever when she came on the program and on the same Mr. Amsterdam program, and she talked about all of those Indian doctors, something they were, I can't remember what it was that this guy like set them up, put them in a better place to over the other person. So this thing has been going on for long and we need to work towards it and to say down with this racism, down with this attempt to just dominate everything. We're Guyanese and we were here first and we should be treated equally. You gentlemen have a good day and thanks for listening. God bless you as always.
Thank you for your call. And so we return to that voice note.
Good morning, Kadaki. Good morning, Mr. Slow. My personal opinion is that they should gut the entire top tier of the Guyana police force, import foreigners, and see how it works from there.
Call it your life. Yes, Mr. Sly, see someone is agreeing, well, not agreeing with you, but suggesting that the police force needs to be gutted.
Well, as I said, you know, there are models around, and you're in a state where you just can't. You have to think outside the box. That is the message. You have to think outside the box. Other countries have done it. They have tried it. We have to try something different. You can't be doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. That is the definition of insanity, madness. So they have been trying over and over, and you're not getting any improvement. You're not getting any Where? So you got to think outside the box. You have to think outside the box.
Shot the woman in the stomach, get away with it. How much time that's going to happen? And the people, we're just going to talk about it. No action. And that's why they continue to do it. No action on the ground. And until that takes place, Guyana will remain the way it is. And that's my take.
Thank you for your call. A lot of what the scholar said was missed, not through any fault of his, but the mic was down. When the mic is up all the time, it brings a kind of echo, which people are complaining about. And for my own personal reasons, I don't usually pull it down because I don't ever remember to put it back up. And so I'm sorry for that. But we'll get to that, I think.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki and Mr. Paulso. My question is this. The shooting that happened on Friday by the cathedral down there in North Road. They said, one person said that was Anil Nandalal driver, the guy thief the cell phone from, and they shot him. It is on the net. Then you hear the minister come out and say that they robbed some cambio and was trying to get away, and they get hit with a car and get shot. I was there, and where that car was, that motorbike was far from the car, and the guy was far from there. So I want to know what is really happening. Why can't they say which cambio and the other person that they in custody? I don't know what's going on in this country. I don't know if you could shed some light on that, if you know about it later.
Mr. Paul Stowe might comment on it, but I had a third version of that story, that the guy snatched a purse from some young lady, and this security person, who they say is Anil's associated to Anil Nandalal in some way, shape, or form, shot him. So I heard three versions. One, they robbed the cambio. Two, they robbed Anil Nandalal security, and three, they robbed the lady. I don't know which is it. And like the call is asking, what really is it? And why can't we name, in many instances, we are a businessman, a businesswoman, a cambio. Why aren't these people identifiable? Mr. Stowe, you care to comment on any of those things which were asked?
To say like you, I have heard three different versions. I don't know. I have not seen an official release from the police, which is very strange. Normally, the police corporate communication unit is quick to give you a long-winded story about what happened. When you finish reading the story, you're more confused than anything else. In this case, I have not seen, I'm not saying that they have not put out a release. I have not seen any release from them. So the whole situation remains very, very confusing as to what actually transpired on Friday when that man was shot and killed by the cathedral there. I don't know what happened.
I'm not a security expert, nor ballistics expert, nor crime scene investigator, or any of these things. But when I looked at the photograph, in my mind I said this was a shot to kill. What are your observations on that photograph? And you believe that was warranted?
Well, you know, I say repeatedly on my program, and I say it again for the information of all, there are circumstances which allows the police or a licensed firearm holder to use his firearm. And I'm using the firearm, once the circumstances are of such and the person dies, well, they're going to have an inquest to determine whether anybody is criminally responsible for the death. So there are circumstances which allows for use of deadly force. I am not sure about the circumstances, and I always said in the police and for licensed firearm holder, including persons who are private security, that the rules of engagement are clear. It says that you may shoot if you're attacked and you apprehend serious danger to your person and you are unable to defend yourself by any other means. They say when persons perpetrate or are evidently about to perpetrate an outrage amounting to felony, and they name a few offenses, and again they say, and do not desist after warning, and cannot be deterred or arrested by any other means, and to protect property and all that. So the rules are there, and therefore the question is not when something happens you just pull out a gun and shoot. The rules suggest that there must be justification, and every instance is going to have its own set of circumstances to determine whether the shooting was justified or not. And again, I say I don't know all the circumstances surrounding this one, but it has to be determined on the circumstances. They say it was a robbery. They say that robbery of a cambio, some woman purse gets shot, some phone gets shot. There's also a confusing thing. Again, the circumstances will determine whether the shooting was justified or not. I am not going to speculate on that. But I can tell you that as a former firearm instructor, when I taught policemen in those days to use firearm, it was a no-no to shoot at a fleeing person running away from you, because the argument used to be that if the person running away from you, then they could not present you with any danger. Now that has changed over the years. That has changed because a person can very well be running away and still present a danger if he has a firearm, let's say. And he can be running away, but he's presenting danger to other persons, so you might be justified. So again, I just say that to say that the circumstances of the peculiar circumstances of every incident will determine whether the shooting was justified or not.
Inquest. When last you heard of one?
Well, that seems to be something of the part where the law stipulates that if there is an unnatural death, and it's for the DPP to order an inquest, because when they file, whether it's accident, whether it's a shooting incident, or whether it's another form of unnatural death, the police will conduct their investigation. The file goes to the DPP, and the DPP, if she feels that the matter should go to the inquest, will so direct, and the magistrate in the district will hold the inquest to determine if anyone is criminally responsible for the death. But I have not ordered an inquest in a long time, but it's still there in the law books, still there. I guess here, and I'm reaching out here to say perhaps with all the shortage of magistrates and all of that, maybe that might be affecting the holding of a coroner's inquest as provided for under the law.
I guess it's another failure of the law. At 9 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, I'm preparing to wrap up with Mr. Slow. And as much as I said, we could spend all day here. Many people are not showing an interest in wanting to spend all day with you, Mr. Slow. We're taking a call. Caller live, good morning.
Hello?
Caller, you are live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Slow for his expertise. But I think that Mr. Slow's expertise could be channeled to assisting the police force instead of, holding these programs and just talking. He talk about political, intervention by the government and the police force and what's not. But Mr. Force could use his expertise in some.
I'm not going to waste the time to listen to this call. Mr. Slow, let me
Go ahead.
respond to that.
Go ahead.
Let me respond to that. The last time I used my expertise to assist the police force, and that was to revise the standing order, I ended up with a criminal charge of conspiracy to commit fraud, which is still pending before the court. So, Carla, you might be thinking you're saying something right. And I tried, and let me tell you this, even though I am charged and before the court for trying to help the police, people would reach out to me, individuals would reach out to me, within and outside of the force. And I try to advise them as best as I can to share my knowledge. And if you look on my program, it's not only, as you say about criticizing, I'm not only criticizing, every single program that I use, including this one in the morning, when my guest, advice is given as to how things can change. I do that, I make it a duty. So when I talk about traffic, I will offer suggestions as to how the traffic situation can improve. When we talk about other things, we do it all the time. So it's not only coming here to criticize, we try to teach, we try to train. And I said, the last time I tried to help the police to revise the standing order, me and others we still before the court with conspiracy to commit fraud. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Slow. I'll tell you quite frankly from my opinion, and that is why I disconnected the call. That caller doesn't want an answer that is sensible. That caller knows the answer. Your programs have been giving guidance and providing insight all the time to the police. But if he is of the opinion that you should use your knowledge to help the police force, then he has to talk to the fat guy and the others, because you were there helping the police force in a constitutional office, and they did all the magic they did to get rid of you, including these false charges. And basically, in their eyes, you're a persona non grata. They don't want to hear about Slow. They don't want to see about Slow. In other places, the powers that be would have used Mr. Slow as a consultant. But in this instance, Mr. Slow is seen as an enemy of the state, quite frankly, from my opinion. And I'm sure this caller knows that. Listen to the bot, and you will know whether or not this caller knows that. And I know, as a host of this program, this caller always calls to justify some foolishness that the PPP does. And that is why I disconnected the call. Not that I am disrespectful to callers, but it is just that. We can't always waste time with them. But thank you for your explanation. Adequate enough. They don't want Mr. Slow's help, because Mr. Slow's help is going to stop the political interference, is going to open the eyes of policemen and other constitutional office holders of what they really ought to do with the powers that have been vested in them. Good. There are no more calls. There are no more voice notes, and I haven't seen any calls coming through. So I think I'll ask you, Mr. Slow, to wrap up.
Yeah, well, Kanaki, again, I thanks for the opportunity to speak on this subject. Yesterday, as I said, I was there. I spoke at the Coffee 250 on the topic public security. And the reason why I'm here this morning is because of the interference, the electronic interference with the program on CAMS TV yesterday. And many of the viewers made a request for me to appear this morning, and you asked me to be here, and I shelved my morning routine exercise and all that to make sure that I can hear, because I believe it's a message that has to be passed out. a message that has to be sent out, and I will use every opportunity. So I'm happy to be here this morning to talk about public security. And as I am here, let me make the plug to say again on Wednesday on my program, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence, which starts at 11 o'clock. I will address the issue again with my colleague, retired Assistant Commissioner Clinton Conway, who incidentally has a letter in today's Stabrook News addressing some of the same issues about security and the crime figures and all that. So I encourage you to go and to read it and to make sure that you're here on Wednesday when we'll deal with the same public security and other topics of interest to the Guyanese community. So again, thank you very much for having me.
Mr. Slow, don't leave. I'm seeing a note that there's a voice note from someone here, Marilyn Lorimer. But Marilyn, I'm not seeing your voice note. You want to call? I'm going to keep the line open for you. Just call and so you can talk with us what you wanted to see. Because I'm not seeing any voice note from you. Maybe it went to the wrong number. Y'all know too many numbers for me. Right? but while we are waiting for Marilyn to call, let me take note. According to Flash Gordon, CAMS TV got the number 1, 2, and 3 programs in this country. So y'all need to continue to support CAMS TV and share the live and share the page and so on. So let's grow the audience. Let's grow the following to the thousands. I think we're about 29,000 so far. Let's see if we can take it up to 100,000. Should that be our month's goal? Thank you for calling, Marlon. Good morning. How may we help you?
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Slow for the information that he has imparted this morning. I want to encourage those persons in the Guyana Police Force who seem to have lost their morale to try to see if you can organize among yourselves and have something going. I know it will be dangerous because of the shenanigans of the party, the PPP and the government, but please, I beg of you, those intelligent persons, can you please try to find a way in which you can defend your image? Because right now, members of the public do not have very much respect for you and they do not trust you. You were paid to serve and protect, and so therefore it is your responsibility, despite the problems, to find a way to be a good officer. And Mr. Slow, I'm praising what I wanted to say, but Mr. Slow, can you also at some stage address the malpractices of those persons who are operating small security services, and there are so many things that are affecting those persons who are seeking employment? Thanks very much. I can't get to say everything, but that was part of what I wanted to see. Thank you.
And thank you for answering the call. Yes, Mr. Slow. So that was it. Any closing remark, or are you good?
No, really, I'm good. Thanks to the caller for coming through. We need to hear the views and all of that. And I say she talk about the police organizing themselves. I am saying that my advice has always been to the police to make sure that you act professionally. Orders have to be lawful for you to be to carry out. If you're given an unlawful order, you have no you're not compelled to carry out any unlawful order, and that should be your watchword. You are in a situation where you're gonna have people above you, people who are senior to you, and again, the Police Discipline Act, Section 1701, Section 4C says that you can only disobey a lawful order given to you by a superior in rank. And the operative thing there is lawful and superior in rank. So if the order is unlawful, you have no obligation to carry it out. We know that the force is a disciplined force, and we don't expect you to be rude in declining to carry out the order, but you can respectfully advise who tell you, no sir, no madam, that is unlawful, that is against the law, and therefore I am not going to do anything that is unlawful and illegal. That's what you got to do. You have to stand up and protect your right, because you're going to be given an unlawful order to carry out. And then when things go wrong, as my lecturer used to say, when the defecation hits the oscillation, they're going to left you thing on the spotter, and you're going to be left on your own. They're going to pull themselves out. They're going to leave you on your own. So you have to make sure that your actions are lawful and professional. That is what I want to end by saying.
Thank you. I got one for the day. When the defecation hits the oscillation, you know, we from Boxing, what we going to say, right? When the shit hits the fan. Have a good day. Have a good day, Mr. Slow. Thank you for coming on. And thank you for keeping up the good work. Yes, viewers, thank you very much for being on the program today. Let me remind you that the leader of the opposition is going to be, first of all, on the 18th at St. Agnes and St. Paul's Church. That's, yes, St. Agnes and St. Paul's Church. That is for a town hall meeting, and it's going to be held on the 18th of August, right? I don't know if I'm seeing right. Oh, but I don't think I'm seeing oh, yes, St. Agnes and St. Paul's Church at 206 Renshaw Street, East Orange, New Jersey, right? Renshaw Street, East Orange, New Jersey. On the 18th of August, the leader of the opposition is going to be out there for a town hall meeting. And that meeting is organized by the North American region of the PNCR in association with the New Jersey PNCR groups. It's a town hall meeting. It's 6:30 on the 18th. And so you're encouraged to go out there at St. Agnes and St. Paul's Church, 206 Renshaw Street, East Orange, New Jersey. Likewise, the opposition leader is going to be also at Tropical Breeze Ballroom. Tropical Breeze Ballroom, and that is on the 1st of September, and that is for a town hall style meeting. In fact, it's an evening with Aubrey Norton, leader of the opposition. You're going to have musical entertainment by DJ Rani of the Goldstone family, Super Terrio one-man band, and that's at Tropical Breeze Ballroom, 1367 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11203. It's a dinner, and dinner costs $100 per plate with an open bar. So go down there on the 1st of September also and spend an evening with the leader of the opposition at Tropical Breeze Ballroom, 1367 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11203. Times to the gate to open, doors open at 5, and you pay $100 per plate for dinner. And there's also an open bar, entertainment by Super Terry one-man band and DJ Rani of the Goldstone family. That's Friday, 1st of September. So go on there and play your part, support the struggle. Of course, on the 29th, I've called for protests. So start organizing your teams. Let us show some big numbers in front of GCOM on the 29th of August. It's Tuesday as usual, Tuesday 29th of August. Let's go there for about 11 o'clock. And sound our voices in the call for a clean voters list and biometrics. We can have fun, and we can also at the same time take care of our political business. So on the 29th, let's go there and do that. And on the 25th, we got Kwekwe. Kwekwe night at Club Twilight is on the 25th. So come down to Club Twilight on the 25th for Kwekwe night. Good. In the meantime, stay safe, make some money, keep your sanity, and continue to flash it if you see it, record it if you hear it, and send it to us so we can highlight it and keep this wicked and vindictive apartheid administration in line. Later in the day, I may bring you a live. Let me tell you that sideline is finally being done. Hey, sideline dam, I tell you, patience, you don't give up, right? You have to persevere. So I understand that a 14-foot wide concrete road is going to be constructed on the sideline dam that we have seen and we have highlighted for so long. A 14-foot wide concrete road is going to be constructed. And trust me, I will keep my cameras there. I'll be observing the construction and everything. I already recognize that they're clearing a drain, and the stuff taken out of that drain is dumped close to the foreshore, just north of here. So I will go and highlight that because I don't think that's the right place to dump it. The contractor must give answer as to whether or not he has been instructed to dump it there. So I will point that out to you. The other thing I would want you to see is the fact that we are talking about constructing roads. Roads are currently being constructed in Annandale. The streets are being done, the cross streets are being done, but the cross streets remain barricaded. Can you imagine taxpayers' money is being done to do a street, and at the head of that street is what we call a tenancy. A private citizen has constructed a tenancy out there to sit on and relax in the afternoons and so on, and that has not been removed to ensure that the street gets completed to the edge of the drains where it ought to end officially. Likewise, there are several other streets where people have heaps of sand at the end of the road here, at the end of the street, and they have not been removed so that the construction can go to the end. And so taxpayers are not getting value for money. I intend to go and show you that at some point in the day or some point in the week. So stay tuned to Camps TV. I'm happy, Flash Gordon, for that vote of confidence. We got it number 1, 2, and 3. Share the page, share the live. Let's grow the numbers because more people need to hear what we are talking about on these programs.